Hold on. I watched it. Hold on. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. This is the place to come for all your fight game / boxing expert analysis, overviews, predictions, all that good shit pertaining to the fight game. I am your host, Rex Ruger, along with the Alexis Arguello puppet.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benji, back with another episode.
Yeah, and this is going to be a good one. A good young fighter coming on here as our guest, man. All the way from across the pond, because here at Off the Couch Boxing, we take it international. We're not afraid to go overseas to our boxing brethren in other countries. And today is no different, man. We got ourselves what I think is going to be a fantastic interview with a young man who is really, really, really on the rise, and as well as his brother. The boxing thing is a family tradition, man. And let me also say, man, that these boys, well, my guest today, but speaking on behalf of his brother also, a couple of tough, no surprise here, Irish boys. I mean, come on, man. That's the way that's the way us Celtic men are built. And our guest is here right now, so we will dispense with all the bullshit and get him in here, man. I'm excited about this one, man. This is going to be a good one. Let's get him in here, man. Yeah. Where is he? 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 There he is right there. Hey, listen, first of all, let me tell you, thank you, man, for the patience with the technical difficulties, man. Podcasting is sometimes, man, it makes me, I love it, but sometimes it makes me want to blow my brains out at the same time. So
no problem.
But I appreciate it, man. And I got a chance to watch your recent fight in June. First of all, congratulations. A great performance. That Lima kid was tough.
Yeah, he was a tough guy. He was unbeaten as well, 10-0, and a high knockout ratio. So it was a good win to get, and learned a lot from it.
But I will say, do not look past. And I can say this with Irish in my blood as well. Do not look past the Irish, man. We are as tough as they get, man. I mean, come on, champ, right? I mean, easily, right? I mean, do not mess with the Irish.
That's it, the fighting Irish.
The fighting Irish. Yeah, I wore it just for you today. So first of all, boxing is obviously, I was talking in the lead up before you came on here, that it's something you and your brother both do. How did you find your way to boxing, and in what age?
I started when I was 6 years old. My brother was 7 or 8. He started a few weeks before me, and then I just went and copied him and started boxing as well. But my father, he was a boxer. When he was younger, he had a lot of amateur fights, and my granddad was a boxer as well. So the boxing's in our blood, and I just loved it as soon as I started it. I knew this is the sport I wanted to do.
And I have seen the great video circulating out there of your brother, also a boxer, as I mentioned, Stevie the Hitman McKenna, laying in some body shots to our current heavyweight champion, the great Gypsy King himself, Tyson Fury.
Yeah, that was a great experience. That was in Las Vegas. After a spar, he was doing sparring with Josh Taylor for a couple of weeks, and then after one of the spars, Fury's in the ring shadowboxing, and he called Stephen into the ring to do a bit of body sparring with him, and he doing it for about 15 minutes anyway, at least. So great experience to get in with the heavyweight champion of the world and throw a few balls with him.
I'd like to ask you, because I know you fight at middleweight. Is that like the natural weight for you, or do you come down? Do you see yourself fighting your whole career at middleweight, or you see yourself moving around weight classes?
I'd say over the years I'll definitely go up the weights. I'm very tall for middleweight. I'm 6'2" and a bit, so I'd say in the next year or so I'll be up at super middle. But right now I'm making middleweight comfortable, so my goal is to become world champion at middleweight.
So with that being said, I heard after the Lima fight that you were throwing around. Was it Liam Williams? Is that the guy we're calling out right now?
Yeah, Liam Williams, but he's took a fight now with someone else, so
Okay.
he
Is
doesn't
there
want
anybody else? Is there anybody else that you are angling for at middleweight? And do you feel like you're ready to step into? Because you are still a young man. 17 fights under your belt right now. Do you feel like you're ready to take it to that next step and start thinking about the other elite middleweights?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Right now, I want my next fight someone in the top 10 in the world. I believe I'm ready for that. And I'd fight for the world title as soon as possible. That's the goal, become middleweight champion of the world. And I just need to be kept active and busy and be fighting guys that's really high up the rankings so I can push up the rankings myself.
And now there was a belt involved with that Lima one, though, right? Like you did win the WBC international middleweight title, right?
Yeah, so that's the second WBC title I've got now. So WBC Youth World title and then the WBC International title. So the next one I want would be the WBC World title.
Yeah. And now where does the silencer come from? Where does that nickname come from? What were we doing? Shutting up a lot of kids back in school in the day?
Yeah. One of the boys on the Irish team when I was younger was saying it to me that outside the ring I'm quite enough, but like as soon as I step in the ring, that's when the talking happens with my fist. So
yeah,
someone called me the silencer, and it just stuck. So
well, thank God it wasn't the door knocker, right, Benji's? I mean, Jesus. Long story short, man, like my son-in-law flirted with the idea years back of doing it, and I don't know where he came up with the door knocker. I think we were up very, very late, and I think he was talking about like I'm going to be banging down doors and taking out guys. But the door knocker, I mean, let's face it, Aaron, horrible boxing nickname.
He's never lived it down.
He never lived it down, and he still doesn't live it down to this day. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So obviously the Gypsy Travelers, a lot like Tyson Fury, a real penchant for fighting. Have you ever been to or seen or been a part of? See, that's one thing I like about the Gypsy Traveler tradition. Going out on the road, and duking stuff out, you know what I mean? Like on behalf of your clan. Does that still go on over there?
The bare knuckle fighting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure. Well, I think it does, but I haven't really heard or seen anything. Not really in the loop for that stuff, but I think it still does.
That's an old school mentality, right? I got a problem with you, you got a problem with me, and they go out on a back road and they handle it somewhere.
Yeah, they sorted out.
Yeah, sorted out. What would you say? You talked about the last fight and the stuff that you learned. What did you feel like you did learn in that fight, and what do you think that you need to improve on? As far as like your skills.
I learned a lot in that fight. It was the first time fighting a southpaw, so the 17th fight, and it was the first southpaw I fought, and it was a strong southpaw as well. So it was great to be able to come up against someone like that, and also it was my first 10-round fight. It's great to get 10 rounds under my belt, and I'll use that experience now going forward my next few fights.
Yeah, your stamina was incredible. It really was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the
you
most.
Seem like to me, you seem like a high work rate kind of guy. Do you like just like overwhelming your opponent, smothering your opponent?
Yeah, well, me and my brother, that's the way we like to be, like high work rate fighters. The way we train is to train to keep a high work rate. So we're non-stop training all year round. We train to go 10, 12 rounds. But if the chance is there to take someone out, we take them out. But we like to have a high work rate and be fitter than your opponents. I think it's one of the most important things in boxing is to make sure you're fit and able to keep the pace going from the first bell to the end.
Now, who were some guys when you were coming up and you were little? Were there guys that you wanted to emulate or be like, or that you looked up to as far as your favorite fighters?
Yeah, two. One of my biggest was Mike Tyson. I loved watching old clips of him. So from when I was very young, that's the clips I always watched on YouTube. Mike Tyson. I loved his attitude. I loved his style. He just wanted to take the opponents out of there from the first bell. And then as well, Marvin Hagler. I loved watching him. So I liked the old school fighters. Marvin Hagler was the best middleweight of all time.
I'm glad you said that. We're actually interviewing his son later on this afternoon, and boy, do we got questions for James Hagler. I'll tell you, man. I always thought Marvin was a very intriguing guy, and you know how hard he took that Sugar Ray Leonard fight and just stopped boxing after that. You know, I think he got sick of like the corruption and the politics of boxing, which does unfortunately enter the situation at times.
Yeah, Hagler was some fighter. He kept coming forward, and he had a great engine as well.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorite fighters.
And so when you talk about like a move up to 168, is that something that you anticipate on down the road? How long do you plan on campaigning at 160 before a move to 168 is inevitable?
It all depends how much I fill out. I'd say probably a year to 2 years I'll be up to 168, but I feel really strong right now at middleweight, but I have the height and reach and frame to go very high up the weight division. So I'd say I could end up at least a light heavyweight by the time I'm towards the end of my career.
Yeah, big fights up there. Definitely some big fights up there. Yeah, I mean, 168. Yeah. Now, who do you like about
160 though? You got the 160. You got the bigger Charlo brother. He's the one of the champions, right?
Yeah, he's a WBC champion, but he hasn't fought in 2 years or over 2 years, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think you give him a problem right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love.
And then, of course, 168, you move up to 168, and, well, if it takes 2 years, you might not still be there, but then you set yourself up for possibly a Canelo showdown. Everybody wants a Canelo showdown.
That would be on to get a fight with him.
Yeah.
That's where the money is.
That'd be massive.
But, I mean, but in all fairness, though, you know, I think, you know, we go on Facebook to a lot of the boxing pages, and we put stuff up there, like debatable kind of topics or whatever. You know, and what people really do seem to want to see right now is Canelo and David Benavidez. But obviously, Benavidez has a fight coming up here with Boo Boo Andrade. Now, who do you like in that fight?
I think Benavidez. I think Boo Boo will start off very good and fast, maybe causing a few problems early on. But I think as it goes by 4, 5, 6 rounds, Benavidez will start to take over.
Yeah, he does have that. He has that incredible engine that you were talking about earlier too. Just
the work rate.
Yeah, the work rate and the you know, the offense is his defense. You know, you're just, you know, you got a flurry of punches coming at you nonstop. I mean, and so what do you feel like your best traits are? Because what I saw, obviously, we talked about the stamina, a fantastic straight right. But what do you feel like your best traits are? And by the way, that Lima fight was, and I saw a lot of people in the comment section on YouTube were talking about what a master class it was in footwork as well. And I guess I might not have noticed that initially, but going back and looking though, yeah, fantastic.
No,
footwork
I did that.
Too.
The angle changes and all that stuff. Was top quality.
Yeah, so yeah, we work on all that stuff. I've been working on all that my whole life, all the angle changes, footwork, keeping the range. And then I moved to America when I was 18 for 4 years. So that's where I really learned my craft and got a lot of experience sparring over there, getting the best sparring in the world, picking up different things. But as I said, I like to work at a high work rate, and for a tall fighter too, sometimes I like working on the inside. Some people don't expect a tall fighter.
Yeah.
Close range, and I like to practice body shots as well and work on them. Some people don't really expect tall fighters to throw good body shots either.
Right. And now, do you feel like, you know, well, first of all, let me ask you, your brother Stevie is the older one, but in size-wise, you are the bigger one. But obviously, though, growing up, though, you guys, you know, whether it's for fun in the ring or you know, whatever the circumstances, you guys must have been in there and moved around a little bit with each other too. Who gets the better of it, Aaron?
It's always close, but yeah, me and Stephen, we've been sparring with each other our whole boxing lives.
Yeah,
we're lucky that we've always been a similar weight, so that we could spar with each other, and we do a lot of technical sparring with each other too. So we practice things on each other that we learned from or done in sparring the day before.
Yeah,
and then in the build up to fights too, we do a lot of sparring with each other. And it's always razor sharp leading into a fight, me and him sparring.
And now Stevie seems like he's the one that's a little more, he's obviously got the higher knockout ratio. He's knocked out damn near all of his opponents. So there is that difference in style because you seem a little bit more like a technician in there, lower amount of knockouts as opposed to your brother or whatever. But, but it is interesting to think that he's down at welterweight. What, do you have any idea? And I don't want you to speak for him, obviously, but because we have you on here, where does he see his career going? And is there anybody specifically that he's angling for in the welterweight division? A lot of big fish there too.
Yeah, there's a lot of big fights from at welterweight. Anyone really, he'd fight anyone in the top 15, top 10 right now. But the big fights are there from. You have Josh Taylor, you have Marco, you have Conor Benn as well. So them's the type of fights he'd be looking, and he'd beat them all, in my opinion. He's one of the hardest hitting welterweights in the world, and he's a high work rate too, and he throws a lot of punches.
Obviously, you've got a very high confidence to be, and I know the fight's not going to happen because you say he took another fight. But calling out a guy like Liam Williams, obviously confidence is something that you have a lot of, and I guess you have to in this game. But was there something specifically, without tipping your hat too much, because of course, maybe somewhere down the road that fight does happen. But Liam Williams is a tough Welshman. He's been in there with Boo Boo. He's been in there with Liam Smith a couple times. Eubank Jr. I think he's even been in there with Canelo. Has he not?
Not Canelo, no.
No, he hasn't been in there with Canelo. Okay, but still, he's been in there with maybe Munguia. But he's been in there with some big guys, some big name guys. Was there something specifically that you saw in him, or was it him calling you out?
It was kind of a bit of both. He was the first one to put it up on social media, and then I just responded, and then it went back and forth from there. And then we did have the chance to fight on the Chris Eubank, Liam Smith undercard. But as we were negotiating for the fight, he went off on holidays to Mexico, so he couldn't take that fight. And then anytime the renegotiating started again, he went on more holidays. So
yeah,
in the end, he ended up taking a different fight. But yeah, it's a fight I wanted because he has that high ranking with the WBC. He's a high-ranked fighter, and he's fought at world level. But he's someone that you need a fight, you see, to get up there and to be up at world level. That's the type of fight I want and need right now in my career. Someone that's going to make me move up them rankings very high.
Right. So you see him kind of like almost like a gatekeeper type. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of measure like where you are right now. A good measuring stick.
Yeah. Something like that.
Well, that's the way to get out of a fight, apparently, Benji. Just keep going on holiday. I mean, sorry, can't do it this month. I got a holiday. How dare this guy go off on holiday?
Obviously, the year's almost up, but do you see yourself getting in the ring one more time before the end of 2023?
Yeah, that's the plan. I want to get out before the end of the year. It's always good to keep busy and active, and need another good fight to keep progressing and climb the ladder even more, and then build for a good 2024.
And when you talk about like being in this boxing game, ultimately, a lot of people get concerned, and I think we talked about this on past episodes. I think maybe Floyd Mayweather may have kind of maybe tainted the image of what being the GOAT or the greatest of all time actually is. And it kind of made it all about like, not having any losses on your record. Is that something that a younger fighter like you, obviously you don't want to lose a fight, but, do you see it as detrimental? Oh, now I've got a loss on my record. Now I've got or are you able to just chalk it up to a learning experience and move on?
It's something that never enters my mind, losses. So that's
a good
the
plan.
To stay unbeaten. You don't want to be taking losses early in your career, and but it is about getting the biggest fights possible, and that's what I want. I want to be taking on big fights, but I will be winning them, and I will become world champion.
I love the confidence. Now he's got 17-0, but like when you look at a guy like Lomachenko, 17-3, but still making a lot of pound for pound list though. That seems crazy though, right? That's not a lot of fights, and that's not taking away from nothing from Loma because we're big Lomachenko fans or whatever. But speaking to your previous point though, like not catching an L early in your career, that seems mind-boggling to me. Like when you see something like that, does it make you scratch your head and say, what's the criteria for this pound-for-pound list here? How can you be 17-3 and on a pound-for-pound list?
I think it's because of how good he actually is as a fighter and how good he was as an amateur. He had over 400 fights.
Yeah.
He ever had one loss, and then turned pro in his second fight, fought for a world title, and then won it in his third fight. So he's just an exceptional fighter. And
yeah, that is pretty impressive. Yeah, that is pretty. But you would normally think of 3 losses in under 20 fights is pretty detrimental, though.
Yeah, it might come across that way, but I think Loma in his prime was one of the best fighters ever.
Absolutely, no question about it. So
you could argue that Orlando Salido fight was a wash anyway. He didn't lose that really either.
Yeah, he's got a couple. Yeah, and I think the Teofimo Lopez fight, I think he would say was more his own fault of just inactivity for the beginning part of the fight. And then the Haney fight was just, and that's another fight we've talked about on here too, which sort of seemed like a little bit of a robbery, but. I mean, to each his own. I mean, now, obviously, we talked about, your brother, has notched a lot of knockouts. You fight kind of a different style to him. Do you ever worry, that when you leave fights to the cards, that you will be on the wrong end of a bad decision? Is it something that enters into your mind, or do you have to not even think about it?
Yeah, you kind of don't really have to think about it, but you got to just make sure that you never really make it too close to call for the judges. If you're going in there to fight, you have to go in there with the intentions to knock your opponent out or just dominate the fight. You can't really take a risk either and let it go to the judges. But I always make sure to dominate it and try not let it go to the judge's decision.
Now, are there parts of the training regimen? Obviously you do a lot of different exercises, a lot of different things to prepare for a fight. Is there any part of the training regimen, that you're not really a fan of? Maybe some guys don't like road work, or they don't like this, or they don't like that. Or are you one of these training junkies that loves all of it?
Well, my favorite is the sparring.
Yeah.
I love sparring. Yeah, it's my favorite. But I like all the rest too. Probably track work's just the hardest.
Yeah.
I still like running, but it's the hardest part. But yeah, I like sparring a lot, and all the others, pads, bag, strength work. I just love it.
Aside from boxing, when you're not boxing and you're not thinking about boxing, what else do you like to do?
I like a lot of other sports too. Football, Irish football, Gaelic, darts.
There is a difference. Yeah, there is a difference in footballs, though. You know what I mean? Let's let the viewers know that for sure. That what you're talking about, probably rougher than our football nowadays.
Yeah, it's more like rugby style, right?
Yeah, our football is very watered down now. You can barely do anything to a football player now.
Yeah, there's a lot of stops as well, isn't there?
Yes, too much. Yeah, a lot of stop and go, and they're really frowning on. And I get it. A lot of it, is with the head injuries, and they're trying to watch out for the players. But it's gotten very watered down now, where there's not really a lot of hard hitting. Yeah, I'm 50 years old, so it's not like the football that I grew up on watching. You know what I mean? Where it was a little more smash mouth and a little more, hard nosed.
Times are changing.
Times are changing.
Yeah, another thing we've seen in boxing a lot. I'm curious to your opinion about this too, is like a lot of like early stoppages or bad stoppages just due to that same idea. I think the head injury problem. What do you think about, like, are you worried that could ever come into play in your career, or is that something you just also just don't think about?
Yeah, it's something I never think about. Never really enters my mind.
And now your opponent was cut in that Lima fight, though. I think both of his eyes were cut, or he had 2 cuts on the same eye.
His 2 eyes were cut, from punches as well. So,
but at the end of the fight, though, you had an eye that wasn't looking too good either, though.
Yeah, one of my eyes were swelled up a bit, but I think at one stage his 2 eyes were really bad. There was a tiny his corner stopped it, but
I had to fight. I had to fight 97, 93. I gave you the first 4 rounds and the last 3 rounds. I mean, I like to score fights myself and see how I match up with the guys that are actually scoring them, though. And I think they mostly got it right. I think there was one judge that had it almost a complete shutout for you, which I certainly could see. There were some very tough rounds in there to call. That's the most worrisome thing sometimes is when you get those really nip and tuck rounds that are very close to call.
Yeah, when you have rounds like that, it's always important to finish off strong. So the last 10, 15, 20 seconds, make sure you finish it off strong. And again, that's something that we'd work on in the gym too, to always have enough of the tank to finish really strong.
Yeah.
Now, what is the box?
I've also noticed that just finishing the fight strong, even if you've bagged a bunch of rounds early, take the rest of the fight off. A lot of times the judges will misscore it and give it to the other guy.
Yeah, I feel like that just happened. We just talked about it with Jesus Ramos and Erickson Lubin. Yeah,
the championship rounds there are very important.
Yes, and I think you came out and took those championship rounds because, like I said, I had you winning the last 3. Now, is that something that is is that something that's part of the game plan? Like, do you really put a focus on because obviously, like I said, the stamina is incredible. You put a lot of focus on those championship rounds, as they would call them. I mean, the home stretch right there. Those seem to be like really pivotal swing rounds, and you seem like you were almost got into your second wind and were stronger than ever those last 3 rounds.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we've always worked on in the gym to make sure that we're fit and good to finish the last few rounds off strong and in sparring. If we're fighting a 10-rounder, like I'd spar 12, 13, 14 rounds. So if that had been a 12-round fight, I was good to go. So we just do it. That you're always capable to do more, but we always enter the tank too.
So you feel like you're ready to step up to those championship fights, and 12 rounds wouldn't be an issue for you.
Yeah, well, 12 rounds, I could do it no problem. I've been sparring 12, 13, 14, even 15 rounders before. I've done loads of them, and I've always been in good shape in the end of them, and that's with fresh sparring partners, 2 or 3 different sparring partners, so you have fresh ones coming in. So I'd definitely be ready right now to move up to 12 rounders.
Well, this kid's ready to start some trouble, man. I wish we could start some trouble right now. God damn it. Who do we got to call out here, man? Jesus, man. Liam Williams is already going off on holiday all the time. He doesn't want a piece of this kid. Jesus, man. Come off a vacation and make a fight here. So if you could put your promoter hat on for a second, man, is there one guy out there in the middleweight division, though, irregardless of whether it's a fight down the road or if it could happen tomorrow, is there one guy that you really say, God, that's the guy that I'd really like to put in my crosshairs right now at middleweight?
Yeah, well, any of the world champions or Chris Eubank, he's one I'd love to get a fight with. He's a big name in the UK, so it would be a massive fight in Ireland or England. That's one, either him or any of the world champions.
Now, do you feel like
I don't want to bash Chris Eubank way here, but I think you would kill Eubank Jr.
Yeah. And plus, I'm under the impression that it's somehow, some way, a fight with him and Conor Benn was supposed to manifest, a lot like their fathers fighting years ago. But it doesn't seem like it's ever actually going to come to fruition. I just hear about it talked about all the time.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything of that since his last fight. Well, a few months ago, anyway.
Yeah, it seems very strange about. So Chris Eubank. So you are currently where now? You're in Ireland or you're in Britain?
In Ireland.
In Ireland. Okay. Oh, man. That's my destination right there, man. That's where I need to get on vacation. But I'm afraid I'll never come back. It looks beautiful over there, man. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Now, but let's dispense of the mystery here, though. What's good to eat over there? The Irish are not known for their cuisine. Is it just corned beef and cabbage and soda bread, or do we have other stuff over there we can eat?
You have Irish stew. Did you ever have that?
Yeah, the stew.
That's nice. So you gotta try it.
Yes. Yeah, we got to get over there for some Irish stew. No beer though. Stay off that beer, Aaron.
I don't drink.
Yeah, that's good. You know what, man? it was a real pleasure watching you work, man. Again, congratulations on winning that the WBC International Middleweight title, man. We are huge fans, man, and we're looking forward to everything that you do, man. And these boys at middleweight better stay out of the way, man, because the Irish are coming.
That's it. You said it.
Yeah, I said it. See that, man? I'm going to start promoting this kid. I want to work the corner. Can I, me and Benji's want to be part of Team McKenna. If nothing else, even just in theory. But we're in. We're invested. We're in.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. We're behind you and Stevie, man. Stevie's the guy we want to get on here next, man. But we're certainly going to be watching with bated breath. Who's going to be next, man?
We're Irish, man. There's nothing we love more than the Irish.
Yeah.
The Irish.
Yeah, absolutely. Irish and Welsh, man. And so it's nice to see some fighters, because when I'm trying to do my homework and research, what fighters are coming out of Ireland and Wales, I know there's probably a lot of them on paper, but we don't always hear about a lot of their names. But is the boxing scene over there really good? Is there a lot of good up-and-coming fighters?
In where?
In Ireland.
Oh, in Ireland? Yeah, there's a lot of good fighters coming through. I think it's starting to take off again. A lot of more amateurs are starting to turn pro now, so there's a lot more shows being held in Ireland. So I'd say in a few years' time, you'll start to hear a lot more from Irish fighters, but it's looking good at the minute.
That's good.
Yeah, Conor McGregor really blasted Ireland onto the map.
He did. He really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be. What are your thoughts on Conor McGregor?
Yeah,
obviously, he's one of the big names out of Ireland.
Yeah, he's massive. One of the biggest ever. Definitely to come out of Ireland, and he made a big name for himself in the world. And in his prime, he was unbelievable, one of the best to watch. And he definitely put Ireland on the map, like you said. And
one of the best talkers of all time, too.
Yeah, a great talker. A great talker. And not that talking is a big part of boxing, man. It is, but I take nothing away from a guy that doesn't choose to talk, though, either. Where do you stand on that? Trash talking a big part of boxing, or because you're the silencer, you prefer not to do it?
No, it all depends on who you're fighting as well. If they're going to talk the talk, you got to talk the talk with them, and it's always important too to build a fight as well.
Yeah, selling it.
The main thing is to go in there and back it up. That's what you have to do. If you're going to talk the talk, you have to go in and back it up.
Yeah. Well, this guy starts talking and people start going on holiday. I mean,
that's
what you got to do.
He started talking on social media, and he was the one calling for it a lot. And then when I said something back and said the fight's happening and this, and you can't do this date because he's away on holiday.
Yeah.
But making love hearts in the sand.
yeah, making love hearts in the sand, and Aaron's here waiting for you, for God's sake. And I was a little bit torn, man, because I am mostly Irish and Welsh, and again, there's not a lot of great fighters, who are making big names for themselves out of Wales right now either. I mean, obviously one of the biggest of all time was probably Calzaghe, that was actually from Wales, but
yeah, Calzaghe was an unreal fighter as well. He's a fighter as well that I watch a lot.
Yeah.
He did it the hard way. He trained savagely hard, him and his father.
Yeah.
And, he threw a lot of punches and from a lot of different angles as well.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? I appreciate you. I appreciate you bearing with us through the technical difficulties, man, and being patient with us, man. We had a few glitches here on our end, man, but it's been a real pleasure getting the chance to talk to you. Hopefully we can keep in touch and we can do this again the next time you have a fight coming up or after your fight or whatever, man. But we'd like to consider you.
Tell Stevie to get on here and talk to us.
Yeah, tell Stevie to get on here and talk to us too, man. We're looking forward to having him on too. I've reached out to him on Facebook, so.
All right, I'll tell him. But it was great to talk to you, and thanks for the support as well.
Absolutely, Jim. We appreciate it, man. Champ. Yeah, and congratulations for you on winning that belt, man. And we can't wait to see all the big things that are coming down the road for you, man.
Thank you. Looking forward to many more as well.
Yeah. Thanks, champ. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah, take it easy. Later.
Right. Bye.
Nice kid representing Ireland right there, man. Nice, as they would say over there, nice young bloke. I don't know if they say bloke or not.
No, they would say proper lad. Proper lad.
He's a proper lad. Fair play to him. Fair play. And Liam Williams, you know, if you ever decide to come off a holiday and stop running from this kid, and as he said, you know, drawing hearts in the sand on the beach, you know, you got a tough Irish lad waiting for you. But seems like you want to go the other route. So, I mean, you know. I mean, what can you do, man? Hey, I would avoid an Irishman too. But Liam Williams is a Welsh guy, though, man. Probably almost equally tough, man. So I don't really get it, man. I don't know. But, you know, I was impressed that kid would be even calling out Liam Williams because he does have some big names on his resume at middleweight. I mentioned some of them.
Well, you heard him say that Liam Williams was the one that started it.
Yeah, he did. Started it and wasn't willing to finish it, man. Don't play mind games. Don't play mind games with the Irish, man. If we've learned anything from our great motion picture, The Departed, man, the Irish are impervious to the mental games. Don't try it. Don't try it. Too mentally tough. And you heard him right there, man. He's not just living off corned beef and cabbage and soda bread either, man. The Irish do have a cuisine. They can serve you up some of that stew.
This is way off tangent, but I loved this. I just watched a movie that's big on Netflix right now. It's called Nowhere. And this girl is trying to escape like some bad stuff that's happening in her country, her and her family. And guess where they're trying to escape to? Ireland. Because the guy's like, if we get to Ireland, nobody can beat the Irish.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Big shout out to of course, it's great that you said that too. The undefeated army over there, man. The IRA, man, been battling Britain, man, for you know, for independence for Northern Ireland for years. The only undefeated army. Why are they undefeated? They haven't gotten what they want yet, but nobody's actually defeated them though. So, you know, big ups to the IRA. You know, since we're speaking of Irish legends, rest in peace to the great Bobby Sands, one of our true revolutionaries. Starved himself to death, for God's sake, man. Just for a fucking united Ireland, man. That's balls. That's why you don't break down the Irish, man. Right there. No problem.
I think it's time for me to quote our great American poet, Gary Busey.
Yeah, before you do that, though, like, let's just say, man, again, a big thank you to Aaron the Silencer McKenna. That kid's going to be doing big things at middleweight. And then those boys up at 168 at super middle, they better watch out too, man, because they can get it too, man. But this kid is currently fighting at 160 pounds, 17-0, 8 knockouts, just coming off a win in June where for the first time he went 10 rounds, looked fantastic, great engine on him, great footwork, fantastic straight right, not afraid to go to the body, 6'2", but doesn't mind mixing it up and fighting in a phone booth if he has to, man. And he just won the WBC International Middleweight title, and you heard him. He's got all the top guys in his crosshairs, man. So everybody in the middleweight division has been put on blast.
And great kid.
And a great kid. Yeah, only 23 or 24. I think he might have just turned 24, if I'm not mistaken, though. He's got a brother, Stevie the Hitman McKenna, who fights at welter, smaller than him but older than him, though, who is just a punishing knockout artist. For people that haven't seen, there's a video circulating around where he's just body punching Tyson Fury, just getting him in the flanks and in Tyson's case, the love handles. But that's just who Tyson Fury is. But and he's just letting him just rip body shots, kind of toughen up that that exterior shell or whatever, man. And I would encourage people to go watch the way that brother rips the body, and Aaron as well, man. Those McKenna boys are going to be doing big things, man. Everybody's been put on notice, and he said that I said it best. The Irish are coming. We're on our way, taking over boxing.
Yep, and I will quote. On that note, I will quote our great American poet Gary Busey by saying that you and me and Gary Busey and Alexis Arguello Puppet and Aaron McKenna and Stevie McKenna can all go 15 seconds with anything.
That's right. Bring it on. Never doubt the Irish, because they can do all things. And on that note, I will say, buzzing!